And now, independent and unbiased, here's your weekly Brooklyn market update with Noah and John from UrbanDigs.
Hello, everybody. This is Noah and John, and we are from UrbanDigs, and it is Monday, so you're going to get your Brooklyn weekly market update. John, let's get right to it. I'm looking at Brooklyn supply, 3,416. Show me that chart.
Yes, that's a whole lot of sideways there. No, we're down maybe 0.1%. But I think the important thing is when you look at where we were last year or the year before, it's really kind of going sideways there while the previous years were headed down. So currently supply in Brooklyn is lower than it usually is, I suppose to say, but it's resisting some of that downward pressure that normally happens this time of year.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it, right? It's supposed to go down this time of year. It's not, but it is lower at a lower level. I mean, any way you slice it, I guess it's just a kind of a tight inventory trend in Brooklyn right now. Let's shift over to demand, Johnny, see if there's any clues over there. Pending sales, 1,955, waiting to close. Show me those charts.
Yeah, and that's down. That's a kind of a similar chart, right? We're down just a little bit, not even 1%, not a lot to really write home about. But again, this pending sales chart in Brooklyn has really been on an active decline, and it's that slope is really narrowed. It's kind of almost bottomed out, but not quite yet. We're still looking for the bottom here, Noah.
Yeah, and this is kind of the time of year that it usually does bottom, and then we kind of stay here until the next active season. And when you combine supply with pending sales, I'm looking at the market pulse, 0.57. It's been ticking up off its lows. It's not nearly as much of a buyer's market situation in Brooklyn as it is in Manhattan. That's the takeaway right over there. Let's switch over to the Brooklyn weeklies. I'm looking at 166 new things of supply that came on the market. That is down about 10%, Johnny. Show me those charts.
Yeah, 10% here represents about 20 listings or so. And as you can see on the chart here, Noah, this is really in line with kind of what you would expect to see on a weekly level, right? It's kind of falling as we enter the slow season. So these are the weeks of low listings, and this is exactly what we're seeing.
Yeah, and it looks like it's also the week of low contract signed, Johnny. I'm looking there. 110 things got signed in Brooklyn in the last 7 days. That is down about 25%. Tell me the story there, Johnny.
Well, it's a bit surprising, to be honest. I would have expected a little bit more than that, or at least on par with where we were last week. Usually around Thanksgiving, you see that dip down. You could see that in the previous weeks. This year, however, we're getting that dip down a little bit beforehand. It's something to think about as we head into the holidays here, Noah.
Yeah, everything is just slowing down. We got Thanksgiving coming up, and then we're going to have a little bit of a bounce for a couple of weeks. And when I say bounce, it's probably going to be modest at best, given the environment of where we are on a macro level. You're going to have to wait until February, March, April for the next active season. So if you're a seller out there and you're trying to figure this all out, you got a couple more weeks after Thanksgiving and then expect to slow down. So plan accordingly. And John, let's go to the chart du jour. And this was interesting, Johnny. Why don't you explain to our users what you whipped up today?
Well, we're just looking at the median price per square foot. We're kind of isolating resale condos in Brooklyn versus the new development condos in Brooklyn. And what's interesting to me is when you look at that blue line, that's the resale condo line, right? These are buildings that are roughly 5 years old and older, right? So they're kind of back in that resale pool. It's kind of a steady trend here. No, it's not really accelerating. Yeah. When you think about what the Brooklyn market's done over the last, year and a half, it's really been a tale of just acceleration. You're not quite seeing that here. And that could be simply because you have the core of Brooklyn and there's been a lot of spread out into the diaspora areas, the wider parts of Brooklyn where there's sort of a lower price per square foot. But at the same time, when you look at that new dev price per square foot, that's where you're seeing a lot of acceleration. That could be because they're more located in sort of those, quote unquote, prime areas where there's a lot more happening. But either way you slice it, right? As this market's slowing down, you're trying to figure out, well, where's the froth? I have to point at the new dev market here.
Yeah, it's an interesting way of putting it. I mean, it makes me think that the stability is in the Brooklyn resale condo market. That's the first thing I want to say. And then, yeah, if you think about this whole year and a half, I mean, there was excess and now there's the reversal of excess. There's tightening. So I guess I always thought that the real action was in the townhouses. It's interesting to see the new development sector in Brooklyn did so well over the course, and especially in the last couple of quarters, that blow off top is what.
Yeah, this is really a recovery story, right? I mean, it really kind of picks up in January 2021. That's really when the spread between these starts widening out. So I think you're absolutely right there.
Yeah, and it also could be, I mean, it also could be a mix of what's closing and when. It could be a bunch of buildings. That's also very possible in the new development space. It's not a heavily liquid sector with a lot of data in there. We use what we got, and that's what it is. But it's very interesting to see those spreads, and we'll see how that plays out over time. Thank you, Johnny, for pulling up all this data. It's always very useful. Listen, if you guys got questions, we got answers. Please visit our forum right over here. And that's me right there, is the UrbanDigs Pulse Bottoming. Check it out. See what the discussion's about. If you guys want any of the reports that John whipped up today, it's going to be available for premium subscribers right over here in just a few minutes. Other than that, this has been your Brooklyn Weekly Market Update, and we'll catch you next time.